Hey everybody, I'm Reed Gray, your neighborhood expert, and if you're considering moving to Greenville, South Carolina, you're in the right place. Today we're going to talk about the 10 most searched questions as it relates to moving to Greenville, South Carolina. As always, you probably know this guy by now. That's Harrison Williamson, and he's a local lender that I work with, and he does a wonderful job. So if you're moving to Greenville and you're not paying with cash, I encourage you to reach out to a wonderful lender such as Harrison. All right, let's go ahead and dive in. And question number one, is Greenville, South Carolina a good place to live? So if you've done your research, you've probably found that we make every single list. I love living in Greenville. Like you, I relocated from a different state. I moved here from Florida. And kind of what I tell people is, when I first moved to Greenville, you heard all of this hype and I was like, I don't really see it. That being said, now that I've been here for a while, I absolutely love living in Greenville. So of course we have a lot of hype, but I love Greenville, and reason being is the community. I can go to the grocery store and probably run into some people that I know. Everybody here is wonderful and super nice. And then also it's a very active city, which I really enjoy. So Greenville is spectacular. It totally lives up to the hype. All right, so question number two is, how expensive is Greenville compared to other cities? And that's a wonderful question. I would say that compared to different cities such as Atlanta, Asheville, and Charlotte, kind of the three larger nearby cities, Greenville is in fact quite affordable. Now, if you're thinking about moving to Greenville, you're probably curious about, our real estate prices. Yes, they've gone up. In the 4 years that I've been in the business, they've increased dramatically. That being said, comparatively to those different cities, I would say that it is very affordable. Groceries, utilities, things like that, you've got to take into account your wages and different things that you would earn, but comparatively, Greenville is rather affordable. All right, question number three is, what is the job market like here in Greenville, South Carolina? And that's a wonderful question. Just mentioned larger cities nearby, and those cities may have more jobs just because the population and their footprint is much bigger. Here in Greenville, we rely heavily on industrial jobs. So we've got BMW, Michelin, different kind of plants and manufacturers. However, there's going to be a job for everybody. They may not be as available as different nearby cities. And if jobs are important to you, I would encourage you to go ahead and look into those before you say, hey, I want to buy this house and move here to Greenville. Have a job in place, figure out what you want to do and what that job market looks like. I sell real estate. I'm not looking for another job, so I don't really know entirely what that looks like, but our job market here does rely heavily on the industrial sector. So question number four is Greenville safe? And that's an interesting question. If you work with me, you're going to come to know that there's certain things that I actually cannot answer due to fair housing regulations. Is Greenville safe? Fair housing restricts me from saying yes or no. That being said, if I go downtown, I always feel very safe walking around and just having a good time overall. I will say this, a couple of days ago, I forgot to lock my door. Oh my gosh, right? If you live in a big city, you might be terrified that you locked your door. Nothing happened, everything was totally fine, and I didn't freak out because, the area that I live in, I don't really have to worry about that. Overall, Greenville, it has changed dramatically. There's actually a video that I did previously with Danny Joyner, and he was talking about how before Greenville's downtown kind of went through the revitalization that we've seen, there were areas where people were like, yeah, you don't go downtown, you don't want to be in that area. Now that's our main attraction. So is Greenville safe? I'd encourage you to do research and answer that for yourself. However, I always feel very comfortable walking around our city, and if I leave my door unlocked, I'm probably going to be totally fine. All right, this is a good one. What are the best neighborhoods or suburbs around Greenville? And that answer is totally subjective because at the end of the day, it depends on what you're looking for. Part of the things that people enjoy about Greenville when they're considering moving here is that it caters to so many different needs and things that you may be interested in. Are you looking for rural living on space, some acreage, a little bit away from it all? You're looking for the suburbs. If you're looking for the suburbs, Greer, Simpsonville, areas like that. If you're looking for an older, more historic or established home than the downtown area, it might be wonderful for you, along with the proximity to all the things that you may truly enjoy about living here in Greenville. It really depends on the area that you're looking for, but it caters to just about everybody. So we have exactly what you're looking for, and I'd love to hear about what your home search looks like and help determine which areas may be best for you. Also, here's a fun fact. There's actually a quiz that's in the description below, and I encourage you to take it. Go ahead, fill it out. It's not spam. It's going to tell you based upon your answers which part of town may be best for you. All right, question number 6 is, what is the school system like here in Greenville? So just like crime, schools is actually something that I cannot answer definitively. Reason being is fair housing. That being said, I encourage you to go do your own research, figure out if the school system is something that you would feel comfortable putting your kids in. I will say this, a lot of people love the schools here. I can say that within fair housing, but if you want your kid to go to private school, we also have plenty of those. We've got Southside Christian, we have Christ Church, and many others. So schools, you got a bunch of different options, and I've never heard somebody complain about the schools here in our area. All right, so question number 7 is, what is housing availability and affordability like here in Greenville? That's a great question, and it may depend on the market that we're in. So actually, we've seen an increase in active listings for sale. There's actually now more homes for sale than there are buyers here in our market. So availability is wonderful. Now, part of that is going to be new construction. And if you're looking for new construction, then let's talk about some of their incentives and different things that might make that product enticing. As I mentioned in one of the earlier questions, is at the end of the day, it just depends on what type of property you're looking to get into, because we have a little bit of everything here in Greenville, South Carolina. Now, affordability, our average sales price for a couple years has really kind of hovered around the $350 mark. That being said, depending on where you are, it may be substantially higher than that. It's probably not going to be much less than that. But overall affordability, I would say, is still pretty good. Our market is doing well, and I think that if you were to purchase here, it would be a good investment, especially with the anticipated growth that we're seeing here in our city. All right, question number 8 is, what is traffic and transportation like here in Greenville? And this is a wonderful question. So traffic, not bad, really and truly, especially compared to some cities that you may be moving from. But like I've mentioned, Greenville's growing. There's more people coming here. Our road's starting to get a little bit more congested. Certainly. Is traffic something that is going to impede your daily life? No. However, there's a couple roads here in town that do see more traffic, such as Woodruff Road and Wade Hampton. So keep that in mind as it relates to your housing search and maybe areas that you may want to consider living in. Now, transportation as a whole. So Greenville, part of its charm is that it's still a smaller city, maybe a mid-sized city now or in the near future. That being said, our public transportation here is lacking actually compared to other cities. So we do have buses, but I had a fella move here from a different state. He didn't have a car. He didn't need a car in that city that he moved from. He came down here and he was like, oh my God, I need to go buy a car. So if you're relying on not having a vehicle and just doing public transportation, Greenville is sure to surprise you in that manner. Transportation, it could be a little bit better. I don't know what plans they have, but this is just kind of the facts of where we sit today. All right, so question number 9 is, what is the weather like, and does Greenville have 4 seasons? So I'll answer the second half first. Yes, we totally have 4 seasons. It's part of the thing that I love about living here in Greenville, South Carolina. The summer, it is hot. The winter, not terrible. I actually enjoy the winter when we kind of get some colder temperatures. The fall is my personal favorite. As somebody who lived in Florida for the majority of their life, we had one season and that season was hot. So I love that we have 4 seasons here in Greenville. Now, what's the weather like today? It's kind of confusing because it's nasty out. It's like 67 degrees and we're in the middle of summer, so that is quite weird. As far as weather and kind of natural disasters, that's something I want to talk about as well. Last year we experienced Hurricane Helene. That, what I've told many of the clients that I've worked with, or people just like you who have reached out, that was kind of an anomaly. And while Helene, it did do damage here in Greenville, not near as bad as our friends up there in western North Carolina, not something that happens frequently. So tornadoes, I've never experienced one here. We did have Helene, like I mentioned. Flooding is another one. Not very prevalent, actually. Greenville was designed strategically where if you go and look, you might say, oh my God, it looked like there was a huge flood downtown. Downtown, we have a majority of our parks. So Cleveland Park, we've got Falls Park, and then Unity Park. All of those are actually built in a floodplain, so if you see pictures of flooding there, that was intentional so that when the Reedy River rises, it just goes into the parks and then it recedes back into the river. So natural disaster is not really a huge thing here. So question number 10, and this is a wonderful question here, is what is there to do in Greenville? And the answer, it's limitless. You can do whatever you want within reason. Greenville is a very active and outdoors city. If you enjoy hiking, biking, and just being outside in general, then Greenville might be the place for you. We've got lakes nearby. We've got Kiowee, Jocassee, and Lake Hartwell. We've got the Swamp Rabbit Trail, which I'm sure you guys probably already know about if you've done some research. Greenville is also a foodie city where people love our restaurants, and we do have many wonderful restaurants. My personal favorite is Gianna. So when you guys consider moving to Greenville and say, hey, let's do our discovery visit, we want to come see what the city's like, make sure you book a reservation there because it's wonderful and it's actually pretty affordable compared to other dining options that you might see for nice restaurants in different cities. We've got the Greenville Drive, we've got the Swamp Rabbits, which is a hockey team, we've got soccer. I mean, there's so much to do in this city, farmers markets, you name it. You're never going to lack fun activities for you and your family. So those are kind of the 10 most searched questions about moving to Greenville, South Carolina. I hope that provides some transparency for you and answers some things that you've been wondering about. When you consider moving to Greenville, South Carolina, I would love to talk to you about your home search, answer some questions, and hope to get you in a wonderful place. So I look forward to having the opportunity to work with you. Thank you so much for watching my video. For any questions you may have, reach out to me directly, and I look forward to connecting. And as always, we'll see you next week.